gentlemen, welcome back to Double O, the late night show. It's good to be back. It's called the Double O late night show. That is my bad. How could I forget I forget a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen. My mind has been completely destroyed this week. I was ill for 2 days. Ugh. As a man, to be ill is to not be a man, you know? I don't know what I'm saying. Actually, I'm gonna keep playing this character. I'm rather enjoying it. You know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm still affected. Still have a cough just lingering in the back of my throat. Still got, some work to catch up on. I don't really. That's a lie, but I'm gonna, never mind, back to character. It's so hard. No one understands as well. I've been eating soup. Ladies and gentlemen, a man eating soup, imagine that. Imagine being a man and eating soup. You don't survive in this world if you don't get enough, protein. I had some vegetable soup, ladies and gentlemen. And for a lot of people that would be rare to have vegetables in their diet at my age, but I actually do eat a lot of vegetables, so it wasn't rare for me. I will say though, it was kind of weird having vegetable soup from a tin instead of just making it myself. That was weird. It was kind of one of those illnesses where I couldn't stand up because my head was pounding. I mean, I still got up for the shower, so I could get up. I just, it was more for the safety of other people why I stayed in bed, When I went to the kitchen in the Double O HQ, I didn't touch any of the furniture except the microwave. But I always hand sanitizer all the time. So I sanitize my hands before touching the buttons, of course. That's actually a thing a lot of people don't know about me, is I'm very clean with my hands, but I'm slick with it. Just as the hand sanitizer is very slick and slimy, so is me with the use of said hand sanitizer. I have a rule of 5 when it comes to interacting with people, especially with social events that I have to show face at. I do go for a dap up most of the time, or a simple handshake, or, if they're my close friend, I will go in for a hug. But ladies and gentlemen, as Shakespeare used to say, don't get it twisted. I do, after 5 people, I hand sanitize, Or if there's I know this is the last person I need to greet and whatnot, I will hand sanitize once all the greetings are done. That is just how my brain works. Keeping clean is a core value that my parents instilled in me. A lot of the things I did while sick, I intentionally did, so when I wasn't sick, I wouldn't do them again. Okay, I'll give an example so it's easier for you to understand what I'm saying. For instance, I ate some donuts while I was sick. They say you are what you eat. And if that's true, I'm a massive donut, I love eating donuts, but I ate them while I was sick and I only got 2 out of the 4 down. And to not eat the other 2 donuts, I kind of just stared at them, has now implanted that memory in me of, oh, last time I ate donuts, I felt really bad, so don't do that again, And hopefully that remains. I was in my head, I'm I know I'm not gonna like this, but I'm gonna do it, so I never do it again. Because I'm really trying to cut back my unhealthy eating, because I want to be, peak health by 21 is what I'm trying to aim for. I have another 8 months to try and get to the peak of my health, which I think I'm doing well. One thing I didn't do well at though was going to the gym whilst being ill, which was probably the best for me and everyone in the gym. I would not want to be in the same room as someone sweating all their disease everywhere. But we're gonna talk about, of course, the wrapping of Double O on the Low Season 2. What a great season, am I right? So many amazing guests. I truly enjoyed the experience with all of them. A lot of bands have contacted me after the season finale, asking when season 3 is going to be, if they can get an interview for it. And honestly, ladies and gentlemen, there will be a season 3 because I do love Double O on the Low. One of my favorite things is looking over the Double O Productions Instagram page, and it's just a page with the staircase photos, and I just love scrolling through that and seeing all the guests we've had on. Cause there's so many people. I get oh, we have one guest a show, but in reality, for a season, I think this season we had 25 people on the show. Maybe more. Actually, I think more than that. But that's of course not including co-hosts, people who are just in the room for some reason. There was a lot of those. A lot of my friends would be like, hey, can I come over? And I'd just be chilling on my couch prepping for the interview, and I'd have to be like, yeah, you can, but I'm about to interview a band if that's chill. And they'd be like, yeah, sure. How an interview normally goes is I reach out to band reach out to me, They're cool. We're cool. I normally go to their gig schedule because it was summer. Everyone had gigs all the time. So I'd go see one of their shows first, maybe a couple of days before the interview. You know, I'd take some mental notes, some questions. And then I'd introduce myself to the band because, you know, it's kind of weird sometimes meeting for the first time on the set, which did happen a lot this season. But yeah, it's always kind of better to put a name to the face beforehand. And then they come to set, you know, and then I kind of just give them a brief rundown of how the show's going to go. And a thing I do, ladies and gentlemen, is I go through all the like possible questions I'll ask them. We might not hit them all. You know, they might answer 2 questions within 1 answer, which is all good, you know, because I can adapt, of course. I'm a professional. No, that's one of the things I actually do tell the band, is that I'm not professional. It's just me, couple lights in the camera, you know. But yeah, I go through the questions, if they all like them, if they want me to ask anything in particular, because, you know, it's their episode and they should get to say what they want to say. Normally, like, after like a band comes on, they tell me all the drama and stuff, and I get some good inside scoop. I gotta turn the cameras off for that one though. You know, we have a little debrief, you know, finish our drinks, and then we go out to the staircase, take some photos, and that's a wrap, you know. One of my favorite parts of the show is directing the band on the staircase, because I always ask the band, hey, do you have any positions you want to do, or do you have any ideas? And they always like draw blank, so I always have to be like, okay, you stand there, you're gonna pose like this, we're gonna recreate this pose that you've done before. That's my favorite part of the whole process, is just be like, I want a cool photo, you go there, you go there. And then obviously, like, once they're in a really cool position, I go, okay, I'm gonna stand at the front now. For some odd reason, whenever like I have a gaff, there's always like 2 people who always disappear for 5 minutes, ladies and gentlemen. And I don't know where they go until I see on Instagram the next day, and it's them like taking a selfie on the staircase. This staircase is more popular than me, you know. It's a shame. It's a real shame, ladies and gentlemen. You know, I did my biannual like furniture shuffle of my room, and this is peak. I've done it again. I did the same with the living room. The living room's been in like 3 different configurations of furniture. My room's just been in 2. Actually, no, it's been in 3 as well. But this is like perfect for me right now. It's perfect, and it gave me a chance to kind of clear my desk, because, ladies and gentlemen, I kind of talked about my old laptop, and it's synced up to this monitor here. And the reason for that, ladies and gentlemen, is I made a lot of my old music on the laptop down there. It's a 2015 refurbished MacBook. Well, it was refurbished back in 2022. It can't run unless it's plugged in though, so it's next to my PC down there. The reason why season 3 of Double on the Low is going to take so long, ladies and gentlemen, is because, you know, no offense to any of the bands I had on the show. You know, I love them. You know, I do love you guys. Please don't get it twisted. I love you guys. You're nothing but the best, you know. But you know, ladies and gentlemen, I'm sick and tired of talking about other people's music. You know? Oh, so how did you make this song? Oh, how did you write that part? How did you produce this thing? What did you tell your producer about that? You know, stuff like this, ladies and gentlemen. Me asking other people about their music. What? Ladies and gentlemen, this is the Double O channel, okay? The only music that should be talked about now, ladies and gentlemen, that we're in the off season, is Double O music. Double O music, ladies and gentlemen. Amber Notes, My World EP 1. What else have I done? 5-minute replies, of course. 5-minute replies. See, I Love You Bye, my crown, my masterpiece. I don't want to be that person, but the artistry of these albums, or the vision, you know, the through line, and it drove me to the point, ladies and gentlemen, when I was editing these videos. It drove me to the point where, when I was thinking about my own music, I thought to myself, ladies and gentlemen, we need another Double O album. We need another Double O album. We need another Double O album. Now, if you saw my interview, you already know that I did say I was working on a new album. So this is not a shock at all, but maybe what's shocking, ladies and gentlemen, about this video, I will be revealing the name of this next album, ladies and gentlemen, in this video right now. And actually, I need an old friend to help me introduce this album, ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, please brace yourself for our co-host for tonight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is my old guitar. Look at the dust on it. Oh my god, you can't even see the guitar through the dust. Oh, I'm kidding. But this old nylon string, me and her go back, don't we? We go back. You see, I've talked about this on the Double Down podcast as well, but every time I play a nylon string guitar, there's just something about it, you know? It's just like, I can't write a good song, that isn't birthed from these strings, you know? These strings, these beautiful strings I love so dearly with my heart. All my sweat, tears, and of course blood, ladies and gentlemen. Blood. Red blood. Scarlet blood, ladies and gentlemen. Every bash, every bruise, ladies and gentlemen. Every red, scarlet bruise, ladies and gentlemen. All land upon these strings. These scarlet strings, ladies and gentlemen. Was that a little corny? I don't care if it was, okay? That's the next album called. That's what it's called. My next album is called Scarlet Strings, ladies and gentlemen. Did I cook? Probably not, but it's not just about these guitar strings, but I just thought this kind of presentation of one of the reasons why I chose the name would be the easiest to kind of vocalize, you know. We start with the notes, ladies and gentlemen, the amber notes. We move on to Scarlet Strings, and we see where the ride takes us. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are excited to take this journey with me. I still have a lot to do in preparation for the release of this album, but for now, I'm satisfied to have this guitar back in the OOHQ, back with me to record some songs. Thanks so much for watching. Like, comment, subscribe. Please feel free to get some merch as well, ladies and gentlemen. Be sure to get home safe. Thank you for watching.